Elasticity of demand. Let's look on how we can calculate elasticity of demand. And actual elasticity of demand, this is the degree of responsiveness of demand due to change in price or any other factors which affect the demand, such as income. So there are different approaches of calculating the price elasticity of demand. This includes percentage method and what is known as a formula approach, that is a formula method. So the degree of responsiveness of demand due to change of price or any other factor which affect the demand of such an income is what is known as elasticity of demand. Quite the concept of elasticity is quite not actual. It's not actually meaningful to correlate it with in physics, but here we are looking at the degree of responsiveness of demand. So under percentage method, according to this method of calculating the price elasticity of demand, is where we take out the price elasticity of demand is given by taking the percentage change in a quantity demanded over the percentage change in the price level of commodity. So it is given as a percentage of the change of quantity demanded over percentage of the change of price. So this is equal to percentage change of quantity demanded over percentage change of price. So the change of quantity demanded is given by taking the price of the current year. The change of quantity demanded is given by taking the quantity of the current year minus the quantity of the base year. And the percentage of change of price is given by taking the price of the current year minus the price of the base year. So this is a formula of calculating the price, the elasticity of demand, the price elasticity of demand by what is known as the percentage method. So as I told you, the Qn represent out the current quantity, and the Qo represent out the base year quantity or the old quantity, and the Pn represent out the current quantity, and the Qo the base year quantity, the base year price, the Pn, the Po. Let's assume, suppose you are given this table here, represent of the data sets of we have the price level in Tanzania shillings, and this actual table is provided with the data of PO, that is the price of the old price of the base year price, that is 4. That is the price in Tanzania shillings, and we have the PN, that is the price of the current year, that is 8, and we have the QO, that is 10, and we have the current quantity demanded, that is 8. So if you ask from this table to calculate the price elasticity of demand, how could you solve this kind of problem? As I told you earlier, the PO represented the old price, and the PN represent the new price. The QN represents the old quantity. So the QN, so when we apply the formula now, in order to solve the price elasticity of demand, is given by taking the percentage change in quantity demanded over the percentage change in the price of commodity. Now remember that the Qn, this is the percentage change in quantity demanded is what is known as Qn minus Qo. And remember, the change of P, that is the change of price, is equal to the price of current, that is Pn, minus the price of the old price, that is Po. So when we apply mathematical formula and equate out and solve the equation, this means that we'll be having the Qn over Q over P. We'll be having the Qn over Qd, that is over Q times 100. That is plus Pn over Po times 100 over Po. So when we apply and solve the equations by using the percentage method, this will be having the figure we have is will be equals to, we take out now the Qn. So this means that we'll be having the 8. Now we take out minus 10, that is Qn over Qo, divided by Qo, the base year, that is 10, times 100. Then we divide again 3 times 4, divided by 4, then times 100. So when you equate out the two equations and times 100, this means that we'll be having we'll be having 8 minus 4 times 100. So it will be negative 200 over 10 times 4 over 400. So it will be negative 80 minus 40,000. So it remain out is negative 1 over 5. That will give you the price elasticity of demand, that is 0.2. So that is how we do. It will be better now we learn on how we can calculate the price elasticity of demand by using the formula approach. Although now the formula approach is derived formula from the above formula, but for our case here now we are going to apply also another simple formula in calculating the price elasticity of demand, that is known as a formula approach. So under formula approach, we actually solve the price elasticity of demand by taking the current quantity demanded minus the base year quantity. We will take out the price elasticity of demand, that is equal to change of quantity demanded over change of price times P over QO. So the change of quantity demanded over change of price, that you obtain even by deriving, by doing the first order derivative. Then we times the P over QO. So that is a common formula that we are going to apply under what is known as the formula approach. So Qn represent new quantity, QO represent out the old quantity or base year quantity. And Pn represent out the new price, and the Po represent out the old price. So when you try to apply this kind of formula, we are capable of solving different problems concerning about price elasticity of demand by formula approach. Let's try to look an example on how we can solve the price elasticity of demand by a formula approach. For example, let's look at the following example. Find the elasticity of demand given that when the price of a commodity is 4 Tanzania shillings and the quantity demanded is 10 units, and when the price increases to 8 Tanzania shillings, the quantity demanded decreases to 8 units. So you require to find the elasticity of demand. First of all, we need to write down the data given from our question. So we have the given data that we have the base year price, we have the current PN, that is a current price, that is 8 Tanzania shillings. That is the quantity demanded decrease at 8 units, and we have the we called it the base year price, that is 4 Tanzania shillings. But as well as we have the current quantity, that is 8 units, but also we have the base year quantity, that is 10 units. So from the formula, price elasticity by using the formula approach is given by QD, change of quantity demanded over change of price, times P over QO. So the change of quantity is given by Qn, current quantity minus base year quantity, divided by the current price minus base year quantity, base year price. So times PO over QO. So when you times, it will be 8 minus 10, then over change of price, that is 8 minus 4, then times 4 over 10. So when you calculate, it will be, it means 4 over 20, that gives you 0.2. So that will be the price elasticity of demand by using a formula approach. Something to note, is that the elasticity of demand is always negative, because the elasticity of demand is always negative because of the inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. So in order to avoid a negative answer, now we normally introduce a negative sign in the formula so as to avoid out the negative answer. So we normally introduce negative bracket, that is change of QD over change of price times PO over QO. That is how it is actually applied. So the change of quantity demanded, as I told you, includes the QN, that is the current quantity, QO is the base year quantity, and the PN, change of price, is the PN, that is the price, the current price, and the PO the already price. So that is how we do. Types of elasticity of demand. Let's discuss on the types of elasticity of demand. That the price of elasticity of demand is the degree of responsiveness of change of quantity demanded to change of price. Elasticity of demand can be greater than 1 or equal to 1 or less than 1 or 0 or undefined. Elasticity of demand, that is the price elasticity of demand, is said to be elastic if a change in the price of commodity brings a larger than proportional change in the quantity demanded of a commodity. So this is the first type of elasticity of demand, known as elastic of demand. So actual elastic of demand, this is said to be elastic if a change in price of commodity brings a larger than the proportional change in quantity demanded of a commodity. So numerical, when you show the elasticity of demand, that show that when there is a change in the price level of commodities, we expect to see a very larger proportional change in quantity demanded. This means its graph looks like this. For example, we have at the x-axis we have the quantity in kilograms, and at the y-axis we have the price level. So let's assume now the price at the equilibrium was 2. Now we expect to see a smaller change. Well, let's assume we have the smaller change of price, that is 2 to 4. We expect the quantity demanded to shift with a wide range of gap, a very big gap from 2 to 8. So this proves it is elastic, since if a change in the price of commodity brings a larger than proportional change in quantity demanded. So if there is a larger proportional change of quantity demanded due to small change of price level, this means that it is elastic demand. Something to note in elastic demand is that elastic demand has a gentle slope because a smaller change in price brings a larger proportional change in quantity demand. That's why it has a gentle slope. I hope you can see the gentle slope. So a gentle slope means that it is a high extensions for the gap of the change of quantity demanded. So elasticity of demand from the demand curve can be calculated also. For example, from this table, if someone asks you to calculate this kind of elasticity of demand, this means that when you calculate the price elasticity of demand, you will take out the negative sign, that is change of quantity demanded over change of price, times PO over QO. So when you try to calculate the price elasticity of demand, this means that the change of quantity demand is the current quantity demanded minus the base year quantity. So the current quantity demanded is 8 and the base year price is 2. But also we have the price level. So when you calculate the price level, the base year price level is 2 and the current price level is 8. So if we calculate the price elasticity of demand from this graph over here, let me try it to draw for an emulation. So the graph was we have a 2 8, we have 2 4, and we have also 2 4 2 8, as you can observe. So when you try to calculate this kind of a price elasticity of demand, this means that we'll be having our price elasticity of demand will be calculated in this form here. So from this graph, if you calculate the price elasticity of demand by taking the price elasticity of demand that is negative, then bracket signs change of quantity demanded over change of price times PO over QO. So it will be equals to price elasticity of demand is equal to negative change of quantity demanded over price over change of price times PO over QO. Remember, the change of QD is the change of QN minus QO, and the change of P is a PN minus PO. So from our table over there, we have all the data sets. We take out QN minus QO and PN minus PO times PO over QO. So price of elasticity of demand will be equals to 8 minus 2, that is the current quantity and the base year quantity. Then we take out 2 minus 4, that is the current price and the base year price, then times the base year price over what is known as the base year quantity, that is 4 over 2. When you calculate, you will obtain the price elasticity of demand is equal to 24 over 4, which gives you 6. So the price of elasticity of demand is 6. This means that it is positive. So the measure, the price of elasticity of demand is 6, that is a greater than 1. So since the price of elasticity of demand is 6, that is greater than 1, so it is elastic demand. Another type of elasticity of demand, another type of price elasticity of demand is what we call an elastic demand. So price elasticity of demand, elastic demand is the type of price elasticity of demand that when a change in price brings a smaller proportional change in quantity demanded. It means that demand is less sensitive to the change in price. So goods which have an elastic demand include all necessities goods like food, as a whole, salt, clothes, and etc. So under this kind of elastic demand is that any small change or any big change in price level brings a smaller result on the change of quantity demanded. So our graphs looks like this. In the right hand side, in the x-axis, we have the quantity in kilogram, and we have 2 and 4 quantities. And at the left hand side, the vertical axis at price level, we have 2 and 8. So we have the price in Tanzanian shillings, that is 82 and 0, and we have the quantity as well, that is 2 and 4. The quantity in kilogram. So whenever there is an increase or decrease of the price level to 2, from 2 to 8, or either a decreasing from 8 to 2, you observe that there will be a shifting of 2 to 4 quantity, or 4 to 2. That is a very minimal results from the change of quantity demanded. And something to note under this inelastic demand is that numerical, the measure of inelastic demand is less than 1, but greater than 0. So 0 is less than price elasticity of demand, and price elasticity of demand is less than 1. As you can observe, so whenever there is a change of price level, it leads to a smaller change in quantity demanded. So even its graph, it shows it's not much flat sloping. and there is a minimum amount of the change of quantity demanded. Let's discuss another type of price elasticity of demand, that is unitary elastic price elasticity of demand. So this is a kind of price elasticity of demand that the demand is said to be equal to unit if a proportional change in price brings an equal change in quantity demanded. So a small change in price brings an equal proportional change in quantity demanded. This means that never change a price changes, it brings the same result on the change of quantity demanded. So numerical of the size of the elasticity is equal to 1. So when you draw its graph, it shows that when the price changes from 5 to 10, so when the price was at 5, the quantity demanded was 10. And if there was a change of the price of the price level from 5 to 10, it also leads to the decrease in the same amount of quantity, that is 5. So whenever there is an increase of price to 10, whenever there was an increase in price to 10, quantity demanded shifted to 5. And whenever there was a decrease in price to 10 to 5, from 10 to 5, this means that the quantity demanded increases to 10. So the same proportional changes affecting to each other between the price and the quantity demanded. So the area of the rectangle A is equal to the area of rectangle B. So this, if the area of rectangle A is equal to the area of the rectangle B, now showing that now proportional change in price is equal to the proportional change in quantity demanded. Let's discuss also another type of price elasticity of demand, which is known as the perfect elastic demand. So perfect elastic demand, this is a type of price elasticity of demand, is actually termed to be called perfect elastic. It's when the demand changes while the price remains constant. So price is said to be perfect elastic if the demand changes while the price remains constant. So the price is always constant, but only demand changes. So numerical measure of this kind of perfect elasticity of demand is equal to infinity. And when you try to sketch out its graphs, it shows that the price level is constant, does not change. So we have the price Tanzania shillings in the left hand side, and we have the quantity in kilograms at the x-axis. So the graph of the line here show that the price level does not change. The line of the price level goes past from 0.4 going the right hand side, show that it is constant, does not change. But it shows that the quantity demanded changes from the different points from 10, 15, 20, and 25 in quantity in kilograms, as you can observe. So it shows that various quantities are demanded at the same price of 4 Tanzania shillings. So if the same quantity of commodities are demanded at the same Tanzania shillings, for that case now, so when we calculate the price elasticity of demand from this particular graph, we obtain the change of quantity demanded over change of price times PO over QO. So we take out QN over QO, PN over PO times PO over QO, as you can observe. So when you calculate the perfect elastic of demand, we take out the QD, that is 15 minus 10, and we take out 4 minus 4, then we take out times 4 over 10. So the price elasticity of demand on this particular graph is equal to undefined, that is 20 divided by 0, which is undefined. let's discuss about the perfect elastic demand. So under perfect elastic demand, in elastic demand, at the perfect elastic demand, the price elasticity of demand is said to be perfect and elastic when the quantity demanded remains the same when the price changes. It means that demand is totally irresponsible to the change in the price. Numerical, the measure is equal to 0. So this means that the quantity demanded, the price level normally changes while the quantity demanded remains constant. And the perfect inelastic demand is whereby the change of prices is observed while the quantity remains constant. So its graph looks like this. We have the price Tanzania shillings. In the left hand side we have the price that changes from 4 to 60 to 6 to 8, while the demand curve, that's the vertical axis at the quantity of x, remains constant at 10. So when you calculate the price elasticity of demand from this kind of perfect elastic demand, you'll be taking negative change of QD over P times P over QO. So we take out 10 minus 10, divide by 6 over 4. These are all data provided from your graph over there. So we take times 4 over 10. So the price elasticity of demand will be equal to 0 over 2 times 4 over 10. That will give you 0 over 20. So we divide 0 divided by 20, the price elasticity of demand will be equals to 0. So that is how it is. So income elasticity of demand. So we're going to look on how we can calculate the income elasticity of demand. So from the briefly point, we are going to learn what is it. This is the degree of responsiveness of change in demand due to change in income. So income elasticity of demand can be calculated either by percentage method or formula method. Percentage method is given by taking percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in income. So under what is known as percentage method is where we take out the